Hey everybody, I'm just gonna ask that you all bear with me. I'm gonna come to you guys today talking to you about attachments, bonding, love, people, loved ones, lovers, friends. Um, this is even in reference to when you give birth to a child or you, have different coworkers or bosses that you've worked with. So, I'm just going to read you a little something and then I'm going to be expounding on it. So sometimes we are like that little baby that cries when mama is about to leave you at daycare. Um, I know we've all seen a child's first day of school or, someone being dropped off at daycare and they don't want to leave their parent and so they cry, and people have to come and comfort them and calm them, get them into a frame of mind or emotional state to where they're able to cope while their parent is gone. Well, sometimes we can be like that too. We can be that way with things, but it's more frequent and appropriate that we be that way with people. We're not supposed to be attached to a ring or a phone or, anything like that. But it's very normal to be attached to people. And so this happens when we are connected to another person's psychic field. And when I'm talking about psychic fields, it's the field of thought that we're all plugged into, that we're all thinking on, that we're all living here in this dimension on this plane of existence, on this planet. So, when we talk about psychic fields, they're manifested in things like how psychologists talk about different chemicals being produced by the brain, serotonin, endorphins, that type of thing. Um, and so we get connected to other people's psychic fields and we get attached to those people when we become integrated in those people's psychic fields. For example, spouses are connected to each other's psychic field, siblings, especially twins, close friends, and any type of relationship where sufficient bonding took place. So that could be a mother and a child, it could be a boss and an employee, any type of situation where um, the activity taking place is where that person gets integrated, imprinted, connected to, or become a part of that person's psychic field. So bonding is the activity of getting integrated into someone else's psychic field. It doesn't take long. When you meet people, by holding thoughts of them in our imagination and stamps of them in our memories, you are bonding them into your psyche. So the more you think about someone, the more time you spend with that person, the more you talk to them, the more you think on the conversations that you've had. Um, when you take pictures with people, these are the type of things that consist of bonding, and it gets people imprinted and stamped, integrated into your psychic field as well as integrates you into theirs. About 100 years ago, we would never have the possibility to meet all the people we know today. And the reason why I say that is because we even have things like apartments where hundreds of people inhabit, an area. Whereas back in the day, it was what, a house every 5 to 10 miles. So neighborhoods were smaller, people were dispersed further apart. And we didn't have the opportunities that we have to connect and network and just get to know everybody, even social media. That is a freaking network highway for thoughts, where thoughts are just zipping up and down and through the internet and running from this person to that person. And so You only had access to a select few neighbors back then or people in your region. You couldn't get it popping like you can now. And we are exposed to thought highways, like I said, on social media, in the workplace, and institutions, and we are bonding more than ever. And just to not to get off topic here, but that's one of the reasons why I think people have so many affairs and things these days. Um, it's not actually because people intend on having these affairs, but you're exposed to so many people on a daily basis, and sometimes bonding happens. Bonding happens whether you intend for it to or not. If you go to work every day and Julie's sitting next to Billy Bob and she's spending 8 hours a day there, and then she gets home and she's got to cook, and then her husband gets home and they're both tired and they got to take care of the kids and they both lay down and go to sleep. Well, she's had more time bonding with this guy at work than she's had time bonding with her own husband. In fact, she's even thinking about him more because she's spending more time with him. So they're becoming more and more integrated into each other's psychic field. And then once you become integrated into someone else's psychic field, you start to have different thoughts of things you want to do with that person and, things like that. So it's something called transference. And that's when you're integrated in someone's psychic field and you start to have different type of emotions and feelings for that person. So, I mean, that could even happen between, like, say, a counselor and a client. So, psychic fields and the way that the world is today is very important to be aware of it, to understand what's going on, because a lot of people don't understand it, and that's why they get caught up in things like affairs and whatnot. But that just brings me to the point of understanding how being integrated in different people's psychic fields can be a negative or a positive experience. It can bring out a negative side or a positive side out of you. It can help you express your higher self or help you express your lower self, just depending on, what type of psychic field that person has. If that person is, 80% of the time, um, involving themselves in negative thought and they're not able to do things like bring themselves out of depression and stuff like that, they can draw you into that, and you can be impacted by that or start to feel some of the effects or even fall into that yourself. That's why they say birds of a feather flock together, because once you start interacting with a person, you get integrated into their psychic field, and even say different friends, like they'll say the same thing at the same time, or husband and wife will start singing that the same song. Like I do that with my husband all the time. He'll start thinking of a song, and I'll start thinking of it, and then boom, we start singing it together. So I'm pretty sure twins can relate to that very heavily. So I just wanna give you a word of caution that you wanna be truly careful about whose psychic field you get integrated in. You don't want to get integrated in psychic fields where people are having really dark thoughts, dark behaviors, and they are not able to progress or motivate themselves, to get certain things done or, to be better people. And these are the type of people that bring out the worst in us, okay? And you'll know if you're integrated into someone's psychic field and they're bringing out the worst in you, because and I'm not just talking about the normal get on your nerves type of thing. I'm talking about to the point where they make you really want to leave. Okay, I'm talking about to the point where they make you feel violent. You feel like lashing out at them or yelling at them in certain ways, and not just certain outbursts every now and then. I'm talking about on a regular basis. There's like a pattern of it happening. Okay, and so just to also make you conscious of the fact that you need to define for yourself, not judge people, not release yourself from having compassion on someone because they may be going through something. But what I mean is to carefully pick your friends like you pick your fruit. Pick the people that you want to be around. Even family members, some of them we have no choice. We are already integrated into their psychic fields, okay? And we will remain integrated, so we may have to separate ourselves so they don't impact us as much as they would if we were with them on a daily basis, okay? But just to finish this off, um, guard yourselves. Bonding with people can be pleasant, as well as exposing you to different energies that may not serve you. So, if these energies draw you away from your normal activities or the people that you love, one example of that is when people get in a type of abusive relationship, they tend to retreat into being with that person all the time, and they don't normally go visit their family or, spend time with their loved ones or do the activities that they love to do. They start losing themselves in that person's psychic field, okay? They start thinking about that person all the time, and it becomes very, very unhealthy. So that's why I say it may not serve you. People involved in those type of unhealthy or abusive attachments or relationships, they tend to, suffer tremendously behind that. They not only physically but mentally. They lose their self esteem. They're not proud of who they are anymore. Um, and it just manifests and becomes, a whirlwind to where they're constantly dependent on that person to pick them up or to make them feel better, you know. And if that person makes them feel bad, it ruins their whole day. It ruins their interactions with other people and everything. They're just completely and totally dysfunctional after that. So that's not those relationships are not serving you. They're not making you a better person. They're not bringing out the highest expression of yourself. So you really want to separate yourself or cut those types of things off. And these attachments can be difficult to experience, especially if you don't understand why you can't let them go when you need to. So that, basically you just have to be observant, and when you first meet somebody and you're interacting with people, be aware of how they're affecting you. When you get home from being with that person, pay attention to how you feel, what things you feel like doing. If you're happy, if you're singing, if you're feeling down or depressed, or you know what I'm saying, you don't want to do anything but sleep. That means they sucked all your energy away. So, just pay attention to those type of things and be aware. Um, Also be aware and know that the mind is strong and controls all that you do. So that's just, a heads up. You know, I don't know if we all have the understanding that we're living on this plane and in this dimension by our mind, our thoughts. That's how we experience the planet, and that's how we experience other people and who they are. It's through these psychic fields, these thoughts, how they manifest. That's all we're doing. We're manifesting thought every day. It's manifesting as behavior. When people say, "Oh, you have really good taste," Your taste, your thoughts are manifesting and in certain material objects that you find pleasant. You like it. So to break a bond or attachment will hurt. Just like when that little kid gets left at daycare for the first time, or even time again after that, and it doesn't want its mommy to leave and it cries for its mommy. That's how these attachments end up being. And that's why people have what you call bad breakups. Some people, it'll take them weeks to get over a person. They'll be sick, they won't eat, they'll lose weight, they won't go out with friends, nobody can get them to smile. Um, I mean, they just lost interest in everything that is joyful and happy and loving to them. So that's a process that people go through, and it can be better. Like I said, when we do things like define the people who we really want in our lives, and we observe ourselves and we pay attention to if the person's bringing out the best or the worst in us, we can detach ourselves from that person a little bit sooner than letting the attachment build and become stronger and stronger to where it just hurts even our physical body, the core of our very nature, to let this person go. Um, to break a bond or attachment will hurt, but if it's unhealthy, it may be necessary. Don't fold. A lot of people just stay with somebody because they're used to being with that person, and it's just easier. It's comfortable. Um, it's more secure than just getting out there and saying, you know what, I'm gonna see what I can do on my own or how I can feel on my own. You're going to want to hold on to your comfort zone, because holding on to that comfort zone is what helps a lot of people. Like they're using people in a relationship for convenience in that way, or just to cope with the other things in life. They may not have, someone in their family that they're close to, or maybe going through family problems, so they attach to a person that helps them. It's like a coping mechanism. They're not in the relationship, and then soon as that episode is over, they go to cheating or doing something to where they're not even interested in that person anymore because they just use them for coping. So we have to pay attention not to get involved in people's psychic fields who are using people for convenience, opportunists, they're coping and different things like that. Get the strength to let go and cope. So I just want to say great friends are hard to find, difficult to leave, impossible to forget. Um, so that lets you know when people become good friends and stuff, we are bonded to that person. We're bonded to their psychic field. That's why it's impossible to forget. It's difficult to leave. It's hard to find. We don't become bonded to everyone like that. Some people we become bonded to, and we had no idea we'd become bonded to them. So, like I said, the workplace situations with people cheating and stuff like that, things happen. Here's another one. We've been friends for so long, I can't remember which one of us is the bad influence. Which one of us gets it popping the most? I used to have a best friend back in the day. She would always want to do some old crazy stuff. One day we went to the mall and she said, we should steal a car. And I looked at her and said, I know we shouldn't steal a car because I had a kid back then. You should steal a car if that's what you want to do. But I'm not going to steal a car. So that's the reason why we got to be real careful about getting into these energy and psychic fields that's going on with these other people, because that's all we are, energy on the inside. And a lot of people do not realize that once we sit up here and communicate with people and we start spending time with them and we start thinking about them and we start doing things with them and stuff like that, we are getting integrated into their energy, their psychic field. We're being bonded in there. So That's basically pretty much all I had to say about attachments. And I hope you guys learned something. I hope you guys enjoyed it. And if you like what I'm saying, come back for more. Thank you.